sip by sip, the smiles extend. Coffee with the pastor, cheers my friend.
Welcome. This is Coffee with a Pastor. It is a new thing that we're doing. Oh, look, we have our coffees. We are both pastors.
Surprisingly,
yeah, shockingly, they let us do this. But it's a new thing. We haven't done this before, so I'll introduce a little bit about both of us. But before that, we just wanted to have time to hear from a pastor about what is God saying to you in this season? What is God saying to you in this moment? And that's always done better over food or coffee. I recently have watched something called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and I love stand-up comedy. I love comedians, and I love the idea that there's an entire show just about two people hanging out, getting some coffee, and I think there's a lot of fun things that we can learn about each other, learn about God through those conversations. But for the purpose of this, we just want to hear what God is doing in your life, and so you can have some time to tell our online campus about that. Does that sound good?
I'm here for it.
Awesome. Well, I should probably talk about who you are. Who are you?
My name's Josiah. A little bit about me. I'm an introvert. I'm married to a wonderful woman named Kiona. We have a cat that severely needs Jesus.
Yeah, no, this cat is a demon.
She's a tyrant upon our entire apartment complex. She frequently breaks into other people's apartments, but we've actually made a lot of friends because of it. Because they're like, who's this cat and how did she get in our home?
One time, Kiona sent a picture into our group chat and was like, our neighbors kidnapped Pookie. Pookie is the cat.
Yeah.
And
Pookie.
we were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe your neighbors kidnapped Pookie. But it turns out Pookie just broke in and wanted to terrorize the other cats living in that apartment.
It was part two of part one of a fight that she had that morning. She then followed up and broke into, she's a monster. Anyway.
Friends, pray for Pastor Josiah's cat. Yeah. That cat needs Jesus.
That's right.
Well, I wanted to have you on as our first guest because you and I go way back.
We've known each other for a few years.
Yes, we went to seminary together. We lived together.
Yeah.
And before we kind of get into some stuff, there's a funny story that I want to tell.
I don't even know what he's going to say, so this is going to be good.
Well, our professors didn't know that we lived together.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were in class, and we're talking about, deep theological things. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But Josiah, you were like, Dom and I were talking about this back at the apartment, and our professor kind of stops it and goes like, wait, you guys live together?
Yeah,
and we were like, yeah. And he just goes, man, I'd love to be a fly on that wall.
which I don't know if that's a compliment or a diss. It's probably somewhere in the middle.
A little bit of both. Well, thank you for being on. Excited to talk about what God's doing in your life. But before that, I have an incredibly important question.
Okay.
It's a source of constant debate among us.
Please.
What animal up in the food chain do you think you could defeat in a fight barehanded?
Yeah, okay.
Are we thinking gorilla? Are we
No,
thinking
no.
piranha? Where do you place yourself
No,
in the animal hierarchy?
I'm glad you asked. I think disposable thumbs are quite a difference maker, right?
Oh, for sure.
So silverback gorilla. I mean, who's kidding themselves on that? I'm crazy because I do think I could take a black bear. I think I could take a black bear in a one-on-one fight.
So I was telling our video team this before you got here.
Yeah.
They showed me the scene from The Revenant.
That's
I
a
do
grizzly
not
bear.
think,
That's a
I don't
grizzly.
think you could take a black bear.
Grizzly's a different league. I'd give myself a 40% chance for the grizzly. Black bears are just kind of like big dogs. They're tiny little things.
Okay.
They're lame.
Walk me through this. How do you, Josiah, defeat the black bear?
Oh man, how do I defeat a black bear? Well,
No plan. Already I'm doubting it.
Yeah, the black bear's already taken me down. I just imagine that in the moment something's going to come over me and I'll have the energy to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Leaving up to spontaneity. There we go.
That's the thing. If it doesn't know what I'm going to do, I don't know what I'm going to do.
All right.
Keep it on its toes.
All right, next time we'll bring out the black bear, but this time we'll talk about what God is doing in your life. What
a transition.
Right. Bring out the black bear. By the way, what's God saying to you?
Yeah, that's right.
I would love to hear, and I would love our online campus to hear, as much as you want to go into detail. Maybe it's God speaking to you through a book that you're reading, speaking to you through scripture, or even what show are you watching and how God is speaking to you through that, or the people in your life. So I'm happy to hear. What is God saying to you? Where is God leading you in this season?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So a little bit about me, I guess with my Devo time, I'm a morning Devo kind of person. I know some people, like my wife is a night Devo kind of person. I think that's crazy. I
get too sleepy.
Yeah,
I'll fall asleep
after 9 o'clock. I
Yeah.
can't do that. But for me, my Devo times typically look like waking up in the mornings and spending time either in prayer, studying scripture, or journaling out a prayer to God. So I usually do a rhythm of cycling through one of those, then the next one, then the next one over 3 days. Recently, I've been in Luke. So what has God been saying to me? I don't know. I find when God speaks to me, it's almost like there's two different levels I notice him. One is like noticing him in my devotionals, right? So the other day I was reading, thank you for
that. I got you.
Thank you.
Close.
The thing I was like looking at yesterday was Luke 11, where Jesus is talking about prayer, and he was saying specifically like, hey, you need to pray big, frequent, specific prayers, right? So he's talking about asking and seeking and knocking.
Sure.
And I was realizing how many of my prayers are kind of more vague complaints or concerns I send up to God.
Yeah, I think John Mark Comer, we recently went through the prayer study that John Mark Comer put out.
Yeah.
And I've always thought my prayer life is great because I have like a stream of consciousness prayer with God, like in the car. But he said like he can compare that to worrying in God's direction. And I was kind of convicted by that because I'm like, man, that is kind of what I do, you know? Anyway, continue.
There have been maybe 2 times where I feel like God's really answered my prayers. And both of those times happened when I actually wrote out exactly what I was going to, like, I wanted God to do. And then I prayed that to him every single day.
Wow.
And I based that off of Luke 11, right? Where he's saying, hey, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. And he talks about like persistence in prayer.
Sure.
And what I've noticed is when I do that, one, sometimes he answers it, but also sometimes like I actually give it over to him.
Wow.
And I lose the desire for whatever that is. And instead he gives me a new desire.
That's good.
It's been like a releasing thing for me.
That reminds me when I was a student, and a question that I get a lot from, I double as our young adults pastor, from our young adults is like, does God say no? And as a student, I remember telling one of our leaders, God doesn't say no. He says, yes, maybe, or I'll give you something better. And the leader said, that's just a more optimistic version of no. I'm like, okay, you're kind of right. But I actually like the way you describe that because there is a sense where we sometimes need to give over wrongful desires that we have to God. Yeah. And maybe it's even something good that we want, and it's just not the right thing or the right time for us.
There's a psalm where it talks about the Lord's going to give you the desires of your heart. And one of my mentors would always say, we think that and think God's going to give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
She would say instead, no, God reorders the desires of your heart to better fit his plan. He gives you those desires. So on one level, I get things from God through my personal Devo time. But also, like the other level, I feel like God just speaks to me whenever he wants to. And that can be in anything, at any time, at any moment. And I like that because it means like I can't fit God under a microscope.
Yeah.
He's outside of my plans. And I just get to encounter him in moments. So those things that God says to me are often more personal and more in the moment.
Sure.
Like I was driving 2 weeks ago, and I just remember in that moment, I was stressed and worried and discouraged. And I felt like God was saying to me, you don't get to choose anything. You just get to respond to what I'm already doing. And for me, like that's not me reading that in a passage. That's just God speaking to my heart in that moment because that's what I needed to hear. It just kind of reordered my moment where I realized, I don't choose anything. I respond to what he's already doing.
A relinquishing of control kind of thing?
Yeah, a reordering of my own willpower. Yeah.
Cool. That's a really good word. So in the theme of prayer, and our church is kind of starting to go through a season of prayer.
Yeah, lean into that.
Yeah, leaning into prayer. I encourage all of you to develop some sort of prayer devotional practice, like Josiah said, whether that's mornings for you, whether you're an evening person, maybe even a lunchtime devo, having a deep devotional time, and developing a discipline of prayer. Starting small, right? Starting with maybe the Lord's Prayer every day, and then just moving up from there. But in conjunction with that, while we close, what is something that you're praying for our church in this season? What's a prayer that you have for our church?
I think a prayer that I have for our church is that like all of us would have an organic kind of fire lit in our hearts for seeing people come to know who Christ is and like receive a life transformed by him. I don't know. I notice in my own life, I can get really easily distracted with like meetings and emails and things like that, I realize, man, who have I shared the gospel with?
Yeah.
Who have I prayed with?
Yep.
Maybe a renewed passion for that.
Yeah. The monotonous daily grind, right? Yeah. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Of course.
And why don't we, shall we end with the cheers? Before we do that, how's the coffee?
It tastes like Keurig.
It was Keurig decaf coffee. There we go. We'll get something better next time. All right. And cheers.
One
Cheers.
more.
There we go.
One
Cheers.
further
There
round.
we
One
go. Yeah.
further.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, we'll do. Yep.
Bam.
Yep.
There we go.
And
Cheers.
yeah. All right.
Coffee with the pastor, cheers, my friend. A little chat with good vibes blend.